Some stories are so shocking you won't believe they actually happened. And this is one of those stories that people in that town still refuse to talk about after sunset. She never imagined this night would change everything, because to her it began like any other quiet evening with empty streets and a sky heavy with clouds. The streets were empty, yet someone was following her footsteps, not close enough to see but near enough to feel, like a presence breathing in the dark. At first she thought it was only the wind brushing against the fallen leaves, playing tricks on her senses as the cold air wrapped around her shoulders. But the rhythm behind her matched every step she took, perfectly timed, as if whoever it was wanted her to know they were there. Slow when she slowed, fast when she hurried, never too close yet, never too far. She told herself she was imagining things, that fear can create monsters where none exist. The letter arrived without a return address, only a single word written in uneven ink: run. She laughed when she first read it, assuming it was some childish prank meant to scare her. Now that word echoed in her mind like a warning she should have taken seriously. The old mansion at the end of the street had been abandoned for decades, yet lights flickered inside as if someone had just walked from room to room. No one had lived there since the fire. At least that's what the town believed and repeated like a rehearsed story. Neighbors whispered about disappearances over the years, but no one dared to speak out loud when questions were asked directly. They avoided eye contact whenever she mentioned the mansion, as if even saying its name invited something unwanted. The shadows seemed to move even when no one was there, stretching unnaturally along the walls and ceilings. Every call she made ended in static and then silence, like someone picking up on the other end just to listen. Authorities once found the mansion door unlocked, though it had been sealed for years, chains lying broken on the ground. Dust covered the floor, but there were fresh footprints leading upstairs and stopping abruptly at a blank wall. An old photograph was discovered inside, and someone had circled her face in red ink even though the picture was taken long before she was born. She had never seen that photograph before, yet there she was standing in the background staring directly at the camera. The diary found in the mansion contained entries she never remembered writing, describing dreams she had never told anyone about. Pages were filled with fear, detailed accounts of something watching her sleep from the corner of her room. The voices at night were soft at first, barely noticeable whispers that blended with the hum of the wind. Then they became screams that jolted her awake, leaving her heart racing in the darkness. Footsteps echoed down her empty hallway, even though she lived alone and had checked every door twice. The mirror reflected more than just her, because for a split second something taller and darker stood behind her. When she turned around, nothing was there, but the feeling of being watched refused to fade. The town seemed normal in the daylight with children playing and shops open, but the nights carried a tension that pressed against the skin. Windows closed early, doors locked before sunset, and porch lights left burning until morning. A single candle was once seen burning in the mansion window, though no one had entered the place in decades. One night a scream echoed across the empty street, chilling every soul nearby, yet not a single person stepped outside. A man who tried leaving town claimed the darkness followed him relentlessly, appearing at every gas station and roadside mirror. It waited at the edge of every streetlight, never crossing into full view. The police found no evidence of wrongdoing, only the unsettling feeling that someone was watching them from inside the empty house. The clock in her living room ticked backward one evening, though no one had touched it, and time itself felt distorted. Her friends began vanishing one by one, their houses left untouched but completely empty. Their social media accounts were deleted overnight, as if they had never existed. The phone rang at midnight with a voice whispering secrets only she knew, details from her childhood she had never shared. People said the mansion was cursed, but she didn't believe in curses until she saw the shadow staring back from the upstairs window. It did not move or wave or disappear. It only watched patiently. The doors of her home slammed shut, one stormy night, trapping her inside without explanation. She found another note slipped under her door that read, "You can't escape what is coming." Rain poured and thunder roared, yet inside her room she felt a cold presence that did not belong to the storm. The old photograph changed again, the red circle around her face growing darker as if freshly drawn. The diary pages were filled with handwriting she didn't recognize, repeating a single sentence over and over. "It is almost time." She tried screaming when she heard breathing behind her, but no sound came out of her throat. The footsteps grew louder and closer, circling her slowly like a predator playing with fear. The lights flickered violently and then went out, darkness swallowing every corner of the room. She could feel it breathing behind her, a presence unseen yet horribly familiar. Neighbors later whispered her name when they noticed her light stayed off for days, but no one knocked on the door. Inside the mansion, the shadows stretched across the walls, forming faces twisted in silent screams. Every clock in the house stopped at exactly 3:07 a.m. as if time itself refused to move forward. The candle in the window finally went out, leaving only darkness behind the cracked glass. She ran through the mansion hallways one night after following a strange pull toward it, but the corridors seemed endless. Doors that once led outside now opened into empty rooms with no windows and no exits. Windows showed nothing but blackness, as if the world beyond had vanished. Her reflection in a dusty mirror smiled when she did not, and that was when she realized she was no longer alone. A whisper followed her down the stairs, softly repeating, "You were chosen." Finally, she vanished, leaving nothing behind but unanswered questions and a house filled with silence. The police found the diary open on a table with a final entry written in trembling ink. "It's watching." Some say she escaped and started a new life far away. Others insist she never existed at all. But weeks later, another letter arrived at a different home in the same town. No name, no address, just one chilling sentence written in the same ink. "You are next." A new family moved into her old house unaware of what had happened, dismissing the rumors as superstition. On their first night, the lights flickered just before midnight. On the second night, the phone rang with nothing but breathing on the other end. On the third night, their daughter claimed she saw a tall shadow with no face standing at the foot of her bed. The father searched every room and locked every window. Yet the feeling of being watched remained heavy in the air. Neighbors began whispering again about history repeating itself. The mansion lights flickered once more, and a dark figure appeared briefly at the top window. The diary was found again, placed neatly on the kitchen table of the new family's home. A fresh entry had been written in ink that was still wet. "It has begun." One by one, the family stopped leaving the house, curtains drawn tight at all hours. Voices were heard arguing with someone unseen, followed by sudden silence. When police finally arrived, the house was empty with no signs of struggle. Only the diary remained, open to a single page that read, "The shadow is patient, it always waits." Years passed and the town tried to forget, covering fear with routine and normalcy. But every few winters, the lights in the abandoned mansion flicker again without warning, and somewhere in the darkness a phone rings at midnight, whispering secrets into the ears of the next chosen soul. The story doesn't end here, because it continues in every silent street and abandoned house where fear is ignored, in every town that hides its past behind locked doors and polite smiles. Will you dare to explore what others fear and step into the darkness yourself? The night holds its secrets, some too dark to ever reveal. The diary remains unread by most and feared by all who know its story. Some truths are better left unknown because once you see them, they begin to see you. Reality is stranger than fiction and sometimes far more terrifying. Enjoyed the story? Make sure to like, subscribe, and visit Obscure Diaries for more chilling mysteries.